The brutal murder of James Byrd was one of the most horrific hate crimes to happen. Welcome to True Crime with Tracy G, and I am your host, Mr. Tracy G. Jackson. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the brutal murder of James Byrd, Jr., which occurred on June 7, 1998. But before I begin, I just want to let you know the video I am discussing has graphic details, so viewer discretion is advised. In the early morning hours of June 7, 1998, James Byrd, a 49-year-old vacuum salesman from Jasper, Texas, and father of 3 children, was walking home shortly after spending the day drinking and socializing with family and friends. He had accepted a ride from 3 men, but what happened next was shocking. Byrd never made it home. The 3 men took him to a remote country road out of town where he was beaten. His face was spray painted, as well as being urinated and defecated on. Then he was chained by his ankles to the pickup truck and was dragged 3 miles. The 3 men dumped James Byrd's mutilated remains in the town's segregated graveyard. The autopsy revealed that James Byrd Jr. was alive much of the dragging, but died shortly after his head, shoulder, and right arm were severed when his body hit the culvert. Due to the fact that Lawrence Brewer and John King were well-known white supremacists, the law enforcement officials determined that it was a racial hate crime.
I'm going to pronounce the verdict at this time. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of the offense of capital murder as alleged in the indictment. Oh, I tell you what, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, nothing of that, please.
Judge.
Well, I'm gonna let them decide. Can we do it in one?
If we can't get a couple hours today, I'm not sure we can finish it tomorrow.
What did you say? Let me ask you this.
Mr. King, are you still ready to die proudly if you're convicted?
Proud today, Bill? Any word for the jury?
I don't think the people had any idea last Tuesday that this was actually, well, we've got emotions. We've got strong emotions. This is a bombshell in our community. It's something we're unhappy with. The crime is horrible. The reason's horrible. You bet you we got emotions.
No, I wasn't really worried.
What do you think? What's your reaction?
I'm happy. I'm pleased with the verdict.
What about the penalty phase now?
I'll leave it up to God.
The trial for the brutal murder of James Byrd Jr. began on January 25, 1999. During the trial, it was revealed that Sean Berry wasn't a white supremacist and that 3 of his attorneys who were black men that knew Berry testified that he was not a racist. Berry claimed that Brewer and Kane were responsible for the crime and said that he tried to stop them from attacking Byrd until Brewer threatened to do the same to him. Sean Berry was one of the 3 to show remorse. He was sentenced to life in prison on November 18, 1999. Lawrence Russell Brewer had run-ins with the law prior to the June 7, 1998 murder of James Byrd Jr. One of them was drug possession and burglary, which he served a prison sentence and paroled in 1991, but returned to prison in 1994 shortly after violating his parole conditions. During his court testimony, it was revealed that he joined a white supremacist prison gang with John King in order to safeguard himself from other inmates. Prior to the murder, John William King was released from prison and said that during his time in prison, he was gang raped by 2 black inmates. John King was sentenced to death on February 25th, 1999, while Brewer was sentenced to death by lethal injection on September 24th, 1999, and was executed on September 21st, 2011.
12 News HD is bringing you team coverage of tonight's execution. Reporter Lamar Holliday is standing by live in Jasper with reaction there. But we begin with 12 News HD anchor Jackie Simeon live in Huntsville tonight. Jackie?
Lawrence Russell Brewer was pronounced dead by the state of Texas at 6:21 tonight. Among those witnessing the execution were Luvon Harris and Clara Taylor, who are sisters of James Byrd Jr., as well as Tiffany Taylor, James Byrd Jr.'s niece. On Brewer's side, his mother Helen, his father Lawrence Sr., his brother John, and 2 friends were present. We're told by prison officials that Brewer spent the day writing, packing personal belongings, and visiting with his loved ones. Brewer initially requested a long list of foods for his final meal, including 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, 3 fajitas, a pizza meat lover special, a pint of Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream, and 3 root beers. But we're told by prison officials in the end that he refused the meal, telling officials that he was not hungry. Civil rights icon Dick Gregory has been outside the prison since midnight, along with a group of protesters who were against tonight's execution. And Dick Gregory also tells me that the children of James Byrd Jr. were also not in support of the execution. They were against tonight's execution. We have no indication that Byrd's children were here tonight. Now, of course, the 1998 dragging death attracted worldwide attention, but there hasn't been the media presence here that one may have expected. We do see news trucks, of course, from the Beaumont area and the Houston area, but not the attention that we thought it would get, and that could be due to the national attention being given to another execution that also took place tonight, this one in the state of Georgia. Troy Davis was put to death for the 1989 murder of a police officer there. That execution has been grabbing headlines because several witnesses in that case have come forward to take back their stories. We are still waiting for a press conference tonight here outside the prison facility, at which time we'll have an opportunity to speak with witnesses. Reporting live in Huntsville, Jackie Simeon, 12 News HD.
Jackie, thank you very much, and we hope to check back in with you for official confirmation and witness reaction coming up before the end of this.
The day before his execution, Brewer revealed to the CBS affiliate KHOU 11 in Houston that he expressed no remorse for his crime, stating, quote, "As far as any regrets, no. I have no regrets. No, I'd do it all over again, to tell you the truth." Shortly before his execution, Brewer ordered a last meal that prompted the end of last meal regrets in Texas. The meal included 2 chicken fried steaks with gravy and sliced onions, a triple patty bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelet with ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, and jalapenos, a bowl of fried okra with ketchup, 1 pound of barbecue meat with a half a loaf of white bread, 3 fully loaded fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, 1 pint of Bluebell vanilla ice cream, a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts on top, and 3 root beers, all of which he turned them down, telling officials that he wasn't hungry.
Texas death row inmates will no longer get the last meal of their choosing. Prison officials are changing the rules after what happened Wednesday. White supremacist Lawrence Russell Brewer was about to be executed for the 1998 murder of an East Texas black man, James Byrd. KXAN's David Scott tells us why the last meal that Brewer ordered was the last straw.
Condemned Texas prisoners have been getting a last meal for nearly a century, but Lawrence Russell Brewer's took the cake. A 7-course meal, and he never ate a bite. The chairman of the Senate's Criminal Justice Committee hit the roof.
He's a bad person, and it might very well be as simple as he was just trying to show us He would just show us that we couldn't control things right up to the end. Why didn't someone use some judgment and put that to a stop?
Senator Whitmire's been trying to end the last meal for years. Now it is.
Can you imagine the victim's family who were there to witness the execution, knowing that this killer of their brother was getting these kind of special treatments? Just wrong, and it has ended.
Prison food can't touch the Hills Cafe, but the Hills showed us what Brewer's uneaten feast looked like. 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelet, a bowl of okra, 3 fajitas, a pound of barbecue with bread, and ice cream.
Is this a meal to die for? Lawrence Russell Brewer apparently thought so.
Chicken fried steak. No way I could touch this, so we shared with the next table. These guys said no way, but they'd try. The Hills bill for all this, $75, not counting the tip.
There you go.
David Scott, KXAN News.
As a result, Texas ended the tradition of special last meal requests, and future death row inmates would eat whatever the prison serves before their execution.
Painful chapters in East Texas history is moving towards closure now, more than 20 years later. John William King is set to be executed tonight in Huntsville, convicted of a gruesome murder that many have called a modern-day lynching.
Back in 1998, King, an avowed racist, chained James Byrd Jr. to the back of a truck and dragged him along a road outside Jasper, Texas. Channel 2 senior reporter Phil Archer is in that town tonight with more. Phil?
Well, when Bill King enters the death chamber in Huntsville this evening, some of James Byrd's friends and family will be gathering here in Jasper at the small park named for Byrd to remember the man and to share their pain. The family and the small community looking for closure in the final act of this terrible tragedy.
He always said that through his music that one day I'm gonna put Jasper, Texas on the map. Just wait and see. And that legacy would be that he put Jasper on the map, but it wasn't for his music.
James Byrd Jr. grew up in Jasper, one of 8 children of a school teacher and a Baptist deacon, his family life revolving around church and music. Bill King grew up here too, and on a night in June 1998, the two became indelibly linked through one of the worst hate crimes in history. King, along with Sean Berry and Russell Brewer, stopped to give Byrd a ride. King and Brewer were ex-cons, avowed racist. They chained Byrd to the back of their truck and dragged him 3 miles down a deserted road, then dumped what was left of his body in front of a black church. That's where Sheriff Rowles found him the next day.
It was bad. It was bad. People don't do that to people.
Evidence at the scene, including a KKK lighter, quickly led the sheriff to the 3 killers. And overnight, Jasper became a touchstone around the world for race hatred and violence. The killing brought in outsiders and opened racial fissures in the community. It forced a dialogue about race relations that Byrd's sister says still needs to continue.
Hate is a lack of education. You're not born to hate.
James Byrd's death led to new hate crime legislation at both the state and federal level. The city named a park after him, and the Byrd family set up a foundation dedicated to multicultural understanding. Brewer was executed in 2011. Berry is serving life, and without a last-minute stay, Bill King will be executed less than an hour from now. He's never expressed regret for Byrd's death.
He's an animal. I don't think you can learn to do this to a human being.
The sheriff is in Huntsville for King's execution this evening. We'll have a crew there at 6, and we'll be here in Jasper as friends and family meet here at the park to remember the man. Reporting live in Jasper, I'm Phil Archer, KPRC Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Phil.
On April 22nd, 2019, almost 21 years after the brutal murder of James Byrd Jr., John King tried to appeal to both the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals and the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles, which he was turned down. King was executed on April 24th, 2019. As of 2020, Sean Berry is living in the protective custody at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Ramsey Unit, where he will be eligible for parole in June 2038. James Byrd Jr. didn't deserve to die the way he did. and his death would be the most horrific hate crimes to happen. This has been True Crime with Tracy G, and I'm your host, Tracy G. Jackson. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.